Hello everyone, welcome back to another reading of the Hyrule Historia. And we're going to continue off with the world of Skyward Sword segment of this book. Alright, we're going to start on page 20 and end with, yeah, maybe we could say. So let's get to it. Shortest intro so far, because I don't have to explain anything. That's always nice. I'm just stalling for time until I find the page. You know. Alright. Skyloft and the Islands of the Sky. All human beings live on a floating island in the sky. The island is so high in the air that the only birds that can reach them are the loftlings. Their isolation allows humans to worship their goddess and live in peace. Yeah, you know what? Skyloft is something I want to know a lot about, actually. Having Skyloft floating in the air was such a fantastical idea that we didn't try to design the city realistically. The shading and ornamentation on the buildings were designed and created based on the keywords sky, wind, and peace. Also, given the incredible added altitude of the sky world, loftlings are the only birds that exist there. That's why it's surprising to the humans to see smaller birds on the surface. Hisada, designer. Let's see. Smaller islands are connected to Skyloft by narrow bridges, and the difference in elevation between the islands can be rather extreme, so there were a lot of drafts in Skyloft's design. In the design on the far left, you can see a structure similar to a castle. Which one is that? Oh yeah, I see. It's this one here. You can see. Yeah. So there's some different design ideas for basically Skyloft as a whole. Skyloft is the setting for Link, where he comes from, and where all humans come from that went to Hyrule Field. What would be interesting to know is, I don't know if they'll explain it here or not, is how humans ended up making Hyrule, you know? How they pretty much took over, you know? I mean, they share the land with Gorons and all those, and Dekus and stuff, but I don't know. Okay, Knight Academy. When we were thinking about making a tutorial for this game, which later became the Wing Ceremony section, very good section, even for a tutorial, it was a fun tutorial, that's how fun the game is, we wanted to create 3 rivals for Link. They eventually became the gang of 3 bullies, and that then expanded to the idea of a school. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I've only seen it in text. Let's see, I'm going to try my best. Guy Pora, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, is the wisest and most knowledgeable person in Skyloft. So naturally, we made him the headmaster of the academy. Iwamoto, planner, and Kaneko, designer. Yeah, so basically he's also Zelda's father. There's a few different designs here, it's interesting. In the beginning it was decided that all residents of Skyloft would be modeled after birds. That's where the idea to give Henya a rooster's body came from. Groos's pointy hairstyle was inspired by a rooster's comb. Owlen's and Horwell's designs were based on the Ritu tribe from the Wind Waker. Hirono, designer. The hand in the toilet from Oracle of Ages. I need paper. I have no idea what it's going to do. It has been said that if you listen closely to the door of the Knight Academy at night, you can hear a woman calling, "I need paper." A similar story also plays out in Majora's Mask and Oracle of Ages, and may have roots in traditional ghost stories. Oh, that's cool. So, like, it's like a descendant thing, like Link. I mean, it's kind of gross, but I'm sure if you play Majora's Mask, you know exactly what they're talking about. That hand coming out of the toilet, and you got to give her the deed that you bought from a Deku seller, a merchant. So yeah, here's the designs. Here's designs for some of the headmasters and of the Knights Academy. Very good designs. Very good designs. The character design is very good in in the Skyward Sword. Students of the Knight Academy. Okay. He may look a little rough around the edges, but Groose engineered a massive, railed weapon that was instrumental in helping Link defeat the imprisoned and defend the sealed temple. Groose has a lot of training equipment in his room, and I think he's probably a hard-working and surprisingly skilled kid. He also acts like the leader of the kids in the dormitory, and has invaded Crawlin and Stritch's room. Hirono, designer. Yeah, Groose, don't like that guy. He's a jerk. Let's see. Sheikah Stone and Gossip Stone. Alright, this is interesting to me. Because, let me just read this first. One of the Sheikah Stones lives between the sparring hall and the Knight Academy. He's easy to dismiss, but his hints are very valuable. The Gossip Stones that dot the surface world hold rare information, just like Ocarina of Time. Yeah, because I noticed that those two are the only games I found them. It's interesting. I mean, I guess you can count the owl statues from Majora's Mask, but they don't give you hints. I don't really know. But yeah, there's some designs for some of the students. The final Groose design here. I thought it was really cool seeing the Knight Academy because the uniform is what Link wears, his tunic. And that was cool to see why he wears that clothing. I love those answers. I really do. That's what makes this book and Skyward Sword so great. Just for this timeline. The Bazaar. That's like it's like a little shopping area. They have that in Skyloft. It's fun. It's a fun area. When the player returns to Skyloft after an adventure and prepares for the next one, it's inconvenient if all the shops are in different locations. So we decided to design a centralized town market model. Did you notice the different music in each shop? Oh, okay. Fujibayashi, I hope so. Director. Hisada, designer. Yeah, that's really convenient because it always was annoying to go to different sections to buy things. There were funny ideas like making deals to stir up business at the fortune teller's shop behind the gear shop, or making characters related. Especially attracted to the weapons shop, the blacksmith, and the scrap shop. Oyama, designer. So yeah, so far I don't know, there are more character bios, some designs. So yeah, I guess you gotta go through that stuff to understand what to talk about later on. I mean, this is interesting, don't get me wrong, but I just like the explanations a little more, like the red bird on the hero's shield being the Link's crimson Loftwing. That was cool. That's a cool little cool little fact. Originally, we were going to have one shopkeeper in each shop. We hadn't decided on details for the potion shopkeeper and the item check keeper, so we asked for sketches from 5 different designers. As we discussed them, we expanded on the best ideas and fleshed out the characters. There were so many times I thought, if we don't use this, it will be a real waste. We were able to work out some of those characters were used to work it out, so some of those characters were used in other places. Hirono, designer. Let's see, shopkeepers with unique personalities. There are many unique shopkeepers throughout the Zelda series. Maybe this is because over the years an incredible volume of ideas have been developed for the various games in the series. Yeah, it's true. In the first Zelda game on the NES, you just legitimately just went through a cave, which was like a little square in the mountains, and there they were. And then later on, it's like they were in boats in Wind Waker, and a lot of them were in little. Pretty much all the rest of them were in buildings. Some cool stuff. So yeah, here's some designs, more designs for all the shopkeepers. That's cool. Residents of Skyloft. So yeah, they're just talking about characters. That's cool. That's cool. Gacelle's cart and Greva's basket appear early in the game when the two are talking on the bridge. Oh yeah, I remember that. We showed a normal middle-aged woman going about their business to give a sense of daily life in Skyloft. Hirono, designer. An interior and exterior look at the design of a home in Skyloft. Details about the furniture inside are carefully decided based on the people who live there and their family dynamics. So they put a lot of thought into everything, including where NPCs live. It's amazing. There's some designs. There's the home. They make sure they know. They make sure they put. They accommodate the NPCs. It shows a lot of care. You know, it shows they put a lot of love in what they do. Okay, people of Skyloft unused. We thought the cleaner was really cool and impressive, and wanted to use him in a sub-event. The way things worked out, he didn't appear, but the core material of the cleaner character shows up in someone else. Hirono, designer. Yeah, it's interesting. Basically, they have a bunch of characters that were never used on this page, and there's a continuation of characters that were used in the other game, in the game from the last page I read. Some final versions of designs for people. It's cool. This page has the unused ones, a bunch of sketches. They have the Island Resident 2, a middle-aged island vagabond who travels as he pleases and sometimes sells things on street corners. He looks a bit Birdie from the potion shop. He looks a bit like Birdie from the potion shop, and it bothers him when he is confused with Birdie by the children or the elder. I should have read Island Resident 1 first, I don't know why. Uncle of a student A of the school dormitory, he does construction work around town. He's also a former knight. He is a good uncle who sometimes works at the dormitory so he can see how his nephew is doing. That's nice. That would have been cool though, Island Resident 2 having like rare items come up once in a while that cost a lot of rupees. Guide who runs around the town. Basic personality. A group of people who run around town gossiping. Occasionally they tell lies and confuse people. Kind of like Simon's Quest, Castlevania 2, except it's on purpose. But that would be a cool idea too. They have different hairstyles, and on some, it even goes down past their feet. Some like to keep their hair up. Human relations. Often seen hanging around with male friends. Well, those girls are popular. Boy who loves rabbits. I'm just reading the bios for some unused characters here right now. Basic personality, a cheerful boy who loves people and animals. Sometimes, if annoyed, he can switch to the I hate people, they're such a bother mode. He is deeply attached to 2 rabbits. Body, he is lanky with a small head. He carries himself with a posture that suggests a lack of energy or enthusiasm. He is very frail and he often gets sick. Human relationships. He's kind, but since falling for an idol, he often forgets to display this kindness to others. Tone. What in the world am I doing? Oh, what a pain. Hobbies. Walking his rabbits. Alright. Characters born of trial and error. I am Error. Zelda 2 joke. Only Zelda fans don't understand. The pool characters in the Zelda games is incredibly deep. They leave an impression, probably because each character has many layers that can be seen even in unused characters. The famous Tingle may have been born from one of these unused backup characters. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, you know what? I'm sure that could happen. You know, you tell a story, and you're making stories, games, and NPCs and characters for the story, and you have to take some out. You know, unfortunately, it'll happen. Ah, here we go. This will be interesting. Statue of the Goddess. Goddesses worship is a pervasive element in the religion in Skyloft, especially the customs associated with it. The statue of the goddess transcends mere religious symbol and has become a special attraction and point of interest. It is a landmark that has been seen from anywhere in the sky. The interior, unlike the city around it, uses more straight lines and angles, and coupled with a monochrome coloring, gives the impression of performance and inflexibility. Fujibayashi, the director, Hisada, designer. Yeah, that is the first thing that catches your eye when you look at Skyloft. And let's see, people of the Skylands, Sky Islands, an artistic rendering of a valley in the legendary floating islands. The islands are reminiscent of mountains standing in different altitudes. At the top, birds of legend which may seek as they set upon their ascent. Cool. Cool. So, we've got more designs, you know. Pretty straightforward stuff. I dig. Pumpkin landing. Interesting. Don't know what that is. This is probably past the point where I played. Ringers have tiny animals that gather around Link if he skydives from an altitude above Pumpkin Landing. Since the theme of this game is the sky, the main featured animal is the bird. We decided not to have ground animals like cows appear. Because of that, pumpkin soup isn't made with milk. Pumpkins are a staple of the diet of the people who live in the sky, and they all love it. Kina, the face of the lumpy pumpkin, has become an idol of sorts. She has some very interesting, surprising fans, and it seems like some fans would like to keep their fandom secret. Iwamoto, producer, Hirono, designer. Well, I don't really know about that. They got a couple unused characters from this milk bar, Pumpkin Landing. That's cool. This is where I'm gonna stop knowing what they're talking about with Skyward Sword, probably. Yeah, definitely. Inside the Thunderbird. The original concept was a boss fight while riding a Loftwing. After Link fights a Bylakite while riding the Loftwing, we decided during the second part of the fight, Link would get off his bird and do the dirty work with his sword. Fujibayashi, director. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I really am. Spirits with large bodies. Throughout the titles, spirit creatures like Levias appear many times. Many creatures, like Lord Jabu Jabu and Ocarina of Time, are based on sea animals. You know, it's always good for game design to use like real life elements, but romanticize them or Hollywood them up in a more modern way of saying it. It's good, you know. Here's some, and you're there. It's always good to do that. So far, this chapter I'm reading, I can see that they're explaining how much care and love go into a game. That's very important, because what makes a game good is knowing that the designers and the people who made the game had a great time doing it and put a lot of consideration and love into it. That's what makes it work. The Sealed Grounds. This is where Link lands when he first arrives from the sky. An evil being slumbers here. It is also where the goddess slept for thousands of years under protection of the Sheikah. This is the first place the player lands on the surface. So we consciously made it dark to really contrast it with the sky and make it a mysterious place. We kept several key elements of the game in mind when designing the sealed grounds, namely the goddess's harp and the birds. Kobayashi, designer. Sealed grounds and sacred places. The sacred place has a unique atmosphere. It is rich in vegetation and wildlife. Warm beams of sunlight bathe the area. The sealed grounds probably have no direct connection to other titles, but it's hard not to be reminded of similar places where items like the Master Sword was found. Yeah, you know, you always have to have that sacred temple in the Zelda game standard, you know? We were thinking about how we wanted the gameplay to work with the imprisoned. We knew the player must be conscious of where the enemy was at all times. So we designed the large corkscrew-shaped hole. It aligns with the bottom of the Isle of the Goddess. As we were planning, we also kept in mind that this land is sacred but dangerous place where an unspeakable evil was sealed and watched over by the Sheikah. Fujibayashi director, Kobayashi designer. So that's interesting. It's interesting how that works. I really do know. Now I want to know what the Sheikah are in this game. I just gotta get a little farther in Skyward Sword, because I do want to know more. Sheikahs were always something I wanted to know about. Very mysterious. The three crests. Carved on the stake in the head of the imprisoned are the crests of Faror and the other two goddesses. They were modeled on crests that appeared in earlier games. These crests are also associated with the sages in different races, and appear in other games as well as this one. So that's cool. Crests were big in Ocarina of Time. Everyone said they looked like buttons, and I agree with that. And Oracle Ages did have its crests as well. So that's cool. This is the thing with Zelda games I like, because the crests came in the second part of the game, and when it comes to the Zelda games, there's always a part where there's always like two sections of the game. One part where it's just like you're having a great time and it's a fun game, you know, you like the game, and then the second part is where either two things. One, it gets really monotonous and annoying, but not in a bad way. Like Wind Waker, perfect example. You gotta like collect a lot of rupees and get Triforce maps and have pay Tingle to translate them so you know what the Triforce pieces are. That's annoying. And then you have like Ocarina of Time, where you go to a few more temples to collect crests for the sages. It's all good. So here's some designs for the Sacred Temple and Boss Arena for the temple. And here's a couple of the crests I'm pointing at for just showing an example of that little fact in the bottom of the page. And yeah, that ends up things off for today. How long is? I didn't get that far. Yeah, I guess I'll end it here. Thanks guys for watching, and see you next time. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll learn more about Zelda as this book goes on. Bye.